Hi book lovers, it's Lacey. Welcome back to my channel. It is back to school season. I know a lot of people are already back to school, back to teaching, back to college, whatever. But I went to a UC school on the quarter system, and school for us didn't start until after Labor Day. So here I am trying to fit this in. So I thought I would make a list full of college new adult romances. I mainly stuck with the ones that started with the beginning of a school year, a semester, and I also tried not to make my whole list full of sports romances. Only half of them are. I thought I would share with you all some really great new adult college romances where one of the main characters is either starting college for the first time, starting a new year, a new semester, they just transferred to a new school, something along the lines of that. So here are some of my favorite new adult college romances. Some are more popular, you might have already read, some are less popular that I hope you might read. So let's get started. All the books that I chose are all in college, either undergrad or graduate school. No high school. I have read high school new adult romances, but for this list I'm just gonna stick with college and universities. First up is Ninja at First Sight by Penny Reid. I actually have two Penny Reid titles in this list today, but this one is a novella. This is actually a prequel to one of her full-length novels. This one can totally be read as a standalone. I actually love this novella more than the actual full-length book. Not that the full-length book isn't bad, but this one just blew me away. I reread this one every once in a while. So the heroine is 18 years old and she has just started college for the first time. She's moved across several states away from her family. Her parents are not very happy about that. She's just moved into the dorms, and Fiona is very much a hermit. But when she finally decides to break out of her hermit shell, she meets Greg, who turns out to be her future husband. Greg is 23. He was in the Marines, which is why he started college late. He is hilarious, sarcastic, witty. They have such a great banter together. Fiona and Greg are very, very intelligent people. They have such great discussions. They go head to head on a lot of things. And of course, underneath it all is a fantastic, very hot chemistry between them. The book is steamy in like terms of tension and chemistry, but it's not really explicit, much to my dismay, but it was perfect anyway. Fiona is, you know, very sheltered, a virgin, and when she starts to date, Greg starts to become jealous and realize that he actually has feelings for Fiona. I just love that this novella is so well crafted, so well written, that you get to see Fiona and Greg fall in love with each other, even though there aren't, you know, that many pages to this novella. This is honestly one of the best novellas that I've ever read. Do I wish it was a full-length book? Yes, but at the same time, it was perfect the way it was. In Fiona and Greg's full-length book, Happily Ever Ninja, they're already married. They've been married for like a decade. They have 2 kids, so it's a very different dynamic than in this novella where they're just starting to meet, starting to fall in love. And I like that we get these two sides of these two characters who I love very much. Ninja at First Sight can totally be read as a standalone. You don't have to read the other Knitting in the City series books before this one or even after this one, but the series is amazing anyway. My next pick is The Hookup by Kristen Callahan, one of my favorite sports romances, also college romance. In this one, the heroine Anna is in her last year of college, her senior year, and it's her first day of classes, and she meets Drew, who is the hero and the star quarterback of their college. They get off to a really, really rough start with some bad first impressions, especially on Drew's part. Anna is a very prickly kind of heroine. She tries to stay away from Drew, even though they have some really intense lust and chemistry between them. But after their first night together, they can't seem to keep away from each other, Drew especially. This book is very charming, very emotional at times. I love the witty banter between Anna and Drew. It's sexy, it's heartwarming. I adore this book. I adore this whole series. Definitely one of the best sports romances that I've read. If you love, you know, football romance, definitely read this one. This is very much a popular boy meets not so popular girl, but at the same time it's also so much more than that. I love the depth to this. I love the emotions, the like genuine realness to these characters. I just love Drew and Anna so much. This was actually my very first book by Kristen Callahan, and I ended up reading like almost every one of her books, all of her contemporaries and all of her fantasy paranormal romances. Her writing is fantastic. It definitely shines in this book, in this series. Highly, highly recommend it. If you haven't already read it, please do. Next up is another classic new adult sports college romance, and that is The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. This is actually my favorite of the off-campus series. I know everyone loves The Deal, but The Mistake is my favorite. This one is Logan's story, and it doesn't really start off at the beginning of a school year like all the other books do, but it does start off towards the end of one year and then continues on into the start of a new school year. So that's why I included this one, and also because I really wanted to include one of the off-campus books. At the start of this, Logan is in his third year, his junior year of college, and he meets freshman Grace in her first year of college, and they click. But Logan is kind of hung up on his best friend's girlfriend. He thinks he's jealous over like her, but he's actually jealous over their relationship, over their love, and it takes him a little while to figure this out. But it does cost him Grace in the meantime. So halfway through the book is when the new year starts. Grace is a little older and completely over Logan and the way that he treated her towards the end of the past school year. It's Logan's last year of college, and he's worried about what to do after college, of course, but also he really wants to make up what he did to Grace and win her back. If you love hockey romance, this one is perfect. I love groveling in my books, as you all know, and Logan does a really great job at groveling to Grace in this one. Logan and Grace are absolutely adorable together. Logan is lovable, cute, hot, and pretty clueless when it comes to love and relationships, but he genuinely tries hard to make it up to Grace and win her heart. Grace herself is awkward and hilarious. I loved her character, and I love that she pretty much doesn't give him the time of day anymore in her second year of college, and definitely makes him work to win her back. Next up is Sacked by Jen Frederick. This is actually a transfer student one. The heroine transfers along with her brother to a new school, which is where the hero attends and is a star football player. This one is so sweet and adorable. The hero is actually a virgin. He is saving himself for the love of his life, and as soon as he meets the heroine Ellie, he knows that she is the only one for him. Ellie is very anti-dating a football player or any kind of athlete, but Knox is just too charming and determined to win her heart. If you don't like insta love, this might not be for you, but I kind of love it sometimes, especially if it's written right, and this one it is. And plus it's only on the hero's part, which I am a-okay with. This is definitely the kind of new adult college romance that will have you, smiling and swooning. Knox is actually a twin too. His brother gets another book in the series. This whole series is really fun, feel good. It might not be quite as good as, Off Campus or the Game On series, but it's definitely worth a read, especially if you love sports romances or college romances. Next up is a book that most people have already read. It's an oldie but a goodie, and that is Wait For It by Jennifer L. Armentrout, aka J. Lynn. This might have been her very first new adult contemporary romance, and it sparked, a full 6-7 book series. I've only read the first 3, but this one and the second book, Be With Me, are my favorites. In this one, Avery, the heroine, moves to a different state to attend college to basically build a new life for herself after a traumatic event. She is very much the kind of heroine who tries to keep to herself, but on the first day of class, she literally bumps into the hero Cam, who is so much sweet goodness. I adore him so much. Cam is very much like an outgoing, talkative, popular guy, whereas Avery, is none of those things. He is so patient and so sweet when it comes to Avery. They start off as friends at first, it's friends to lovers, and Cam pretty much helps Avery come out of her shell as the two slowly fall in love with each other. Cam, like I said before, is total sweet goodness. He actually bakes cookies for Avery, which I love. This is definitely a classic college romance. I don't know anyone who hasn't read it already, but just in case you haven't, I'm gonna put it here and hopefully you get a chance to read it. Next up is Playing with Trouble by Chanel Clayton. This is book 2 in the Capital Confession series, but it can totally be read as a standalone. I actually read this book first in the series, and this one is set in law school. The heroine is in her first year of law school, and she falls for her professor. So it is forbidden professor-student romance. If you're into that, definitely read this one. This one is very sexy. Blair and Gray have some fantastic chemistry, especially with the whole forbidden, like falling for the student, falling for the professor kind of relationship. Gray actually notices Blair on the first day of classes and he can't help but pick on her a little bit, calling on her to answer the class questions. It's pretty innocent, you know, he's not exerting any like power over her or anything like that, but they both definitely feel a pull towards each other. Gray is actually reluctantly teaching this first year of law students because he made some mistakes during his law career, so he's stuck teaching, which he hates. Blair and Gray actually get to know each other over some sort of project. They grow closer together, understand each other a little bit more. I love the forbiddenness, I love the chemistry, I love that they have a 7-year age gap. This is personally one of my favorite books from Chanel Clayton. Baby! This personally is one of my favorite books from Chanel Clayton. She is a fantastic author, a fantastic writer, and if you haven't read her books yet, this is a great place to start. Next up is another professor-student romance, and that is Kissing Tolstoy by Penny Reed. This one is novella length. I do believe booktube in the series is full length, but this one is novella length. It's pretty small, pretty thin, but I love this one. It's fantastic, so well written. I love Anna and Luca so much. You love forbidden romances, this is definitely another one to read. So Anna has been set up on a blind date and she emails the guy to set up the date. Unfortunately, she makes a typo in the email, loses a letter. Instead of sending to Lucas, she sends it to Luca. And the guy who shows up to her date is older, very hot, rides a motorcycle, and is wearing leather pants. They actually have a really great date together, great chemistry between them. She doesn't really expect to see him ever again, but of course when she starts her first day at college for her Russian lit class, who else does her professor turn out to be but her blind date. I love this book so much. I love rereading it. There's so much great angst, great tension. The forbiddenness is so hot. Luca and Anna try to stay away from each other, but of course they can't help it. They connect so well over Russian lit. Luca is very surprised and pleased by how smart Anna is, especially when it comes to Russian literature. The heroine is awkward, adorable, and hilarious. I love Anna so much. Luca is sexy, a little cold, a little forbidding, but he definitely warms up because of Anna. These two are so adorable together. I love them. I really enjoyed the second book too, which is called Kissing Galileo, which is another professor-student romance. This whole series is about professor-student romances. I love the cover for this one too. It's illustrated but different than the other illustrated covers that we keep seeing. If you haven't read it yet, highly recommend it, as well as the sequel, and I'm really hoping we get a third book soon. The last book on my list is a pretty underrated book. I don't see a lot of people talk about it anymore. I never really saw a lot of people talk about it except for a few friends, and that one is Undecided by Juliana Keyes. This one is your classic college romance. Hilarious, so sweet, lots of great banter. I was just rereading it earlier today and I forgot how funny it was. I highlighted a lot of laugh out loud moments that made me laugh again while I reread. In this one, the heroine Nora, she is starting her second year of college after her first year turned out to be a disaster because of all her partying, drinking, and failing her classes and getting arrested. So year 2 is when she is trying to clean up her image and her grades and trying not to lose her scholarship. So Nora tries to lay low, stay invisible during her second year of college. She moves in with Cullen because she wanted to live in a place where there would be no partying, no drinking, quiet, low-key place to live. Unfortunately, when she meets Cullen, she realizes that he is a guy she slept with during her crazy wild last year. Of course, she doesn't tell him. He has no idea who she is. He doesn't recognize her at all. So that's fine with her. She just wants to lay low. Unfortunately, unfortunately, she ends up falling for Cullen's best friend, Crosby, who is very much the definition of playboy and party boy. Of course, as they get to know each other, Nora and Crosby realize there is so much more beneath the surface to each other, and they slowly fall in love with each other. Of course, the roommate thing is a little bump in the road for them, but in the meantime, they develop such a great relationship. It's full of witty banter, so many funny moments. Crosby is actually a magician. Like, he loves making and doing illusions. I thought this was hilarious and adorable. There's definitely so much more than just the playboy persona that he has. Honestly, I just loved all of these characters. They were so fun, relatable, down to earth. Definitely the kind of characters that I would have loved to be friends with in college. The roommate, Cullen, actually gets his own book in the next book in the series. I haven't read it yet. If you're looking for something hilarious, fun, sexy, this is definitely it. So that is my list for college romances, back to school edition. I'm definitely going to do a lot more college romances, new adult romances, because that is one of my greatest loves of romance. Let me know down below if you've read any of these, if you love any of these, or what some of your favorite college romances are. I love making this video. I love tying it back to school, and I hope you enjoyed it too. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!